Good afternoon. Welcome. Glad to see you could make it today. So let's get started. So today we're talking about easy Mac tips on Go for Lunch for November 28th, 2023. Brought to you by GoFor Technology. We're here to make your technology work for you, and I'm Roger Harmon, your host. So today is Giving Tuesday. So after several days of getting, we're at Giving Tuesday. So you can make a world of difference by giving on Tuesday. So we're talking about Easy Mac tips. This is kind of a back to basics presentation. So a lot of times when we get into the Mac computer, we kind of get into the middle, figure out what we need to do and figure out how that's done. And we don't always have a firm foundation for how the operating system works. So today we're going to try to add some bricks to that foundation. And I think you're going to learn something. Even if you're an experienced Mac user, I think you'll learn some tips that you may not have been aware of, or maybe you forgot. So let's start off talking about dealing with your apps. So normally you would keep the apps that you use during the day open all the time. Now I've seen a tendency for some people to want to close an app and then they have to just reopen it again. So the way that I suggest that is easiest to operate is to keep those apps like your mail app, your browser, Safari, maybe your calendar, other apps that you use back and forth during the day. You keep those open and just go to the next app that you want to use in the dock. So just use that dock to switch between the apps. You don't need to close them every time because you're just going to reopen them again. So another way to switch between apps is called the app switcher. And you activate that by holding down the command key and tapping on the tab key, and it moves you through the apps. You can also use, when you're in the Finder, a Shift Command A to bring up your apps folder. So let's jump into the Finder and see how some of those things work. So of course we have the dock down here. Let's make that a little bigger. So we have the dock down here. So normally, now I close these apps while I'm doing a live just so I have all the computing resources that are possible. And so I would have Mail open normally. I would have Safari open normally. I might have Messages open. And I would probably have my calendar open. And then I would just switch back and forth here in the dock to go to the next thing without closing anything. Okay, so the app switcher is Command Tab. So then you just keep hitting the tab button to move between apps. And so once you get to the app that you want, you let go of the command key, and there you are in that app, which is not showing up here, but that's the way it works. Command, let's see, let's try another one here. Oh, we'll just go there to our keynote presentation and back to the happy Mac face, which of course is the Finder. And the other one is Shift Command A, and that brings up your entire applications folder, and then you can just double click on any of these icons, or if you're in the list mode, any of the app names, and operate that way. Oh, so another way to do that is to use Spotlight. So let's go back to the Finder. And if I want to launch an app, I hit Command Spacebar to bring up Spotlight. And let's say I want to launch the dictionary. So I just type in a few words, and you can see it says dictionary open. So now all I have to do is hit the return key or the enter key if you have a numeric keypad, and there is the dictionary. So you can use Spotlight to launch. So another bonus tip here is to close a window either in the Finder or on a web browser. You hit Command W, and that will close the active window. So we're going to hit Command W again and go back to Keynote. So sometimes you try to close an app by hitting the red dot in the upper left-hand corner. And with some apps that works, some apps it does not work. It only closes the window, but the app is still active. So you probably, if you really want to close an app, and of course this wouldn't be your mail and your browser and those other apps you use all day long, you use the keyboard shortcut Command Q, and that will quit from any app. You can also, if you want to have a nice clean screen, desktop, you can use Command H to hide an app. Now the advantage of that is, say if you're in a word processing document and you use Command H to hide it, it will be the same state as you left it. So if you had the cursor on a certain word, or if you highlighted something, when you reactivate that app in the dock or the app switcher, it will be right where you left it. Screenshots are a handy way to ask questions about strange things that pop up on your screen. So there's several ways to do a screenshot. If you want to do a complete screenshot, capture the entire screen, that's Shift Command 3. But usually you only want to catch one window or one portion of the screen. Then you use Shift Command 4. You get a little crosshair. You put that in the upper left-hand corner of the area you want to capture. You drag it down to the lower right-hand corner and let go of your mouse, and that captures the screen. And then there's Shift Command 5, which gives you a whole selection of the different screenshots that you can do, including a screen recording. So you can actually record your actions on a screen. I use that a lot to explain how to do something to somebody. I do a screen recording, and then I can email that to them, and they can play back a little video and see exactly how to do something. So let's go back to the Finder. So here we have a window. Let's say if I want to just capture part of this window. If I wanted the whole screen, I would do Shift Command 3, but I just want part. So I'm going to hit Shift Command 4. You can see the crosshair here. So if I just want this little section here, I hold down my mouse. I drag down to the lower right-hand portion of the area that I want to capture. I release my mouse, and the screenshot appears in the lower right-hand corner of the window. I click on it, and then I can use the share sheet here, that's that square with the up arrow, to do some things with that screenshot. So I could send it in a text to people I've recently texted. I could email it. I could open it in preview. I could use AirDrop, put it into notes, add it to photos, which is where it goes by default. If you don't do anything with it, it'll automatically be added to photos, or I can make a reminder out of it. But what I many times do is I do one of these actions, like I might email it or text it, and then so I've already done it, but it's really a temporary thing. So what I'll do after that is I'll click the little garbage can here to delete it, so it's not taking up storage space after I've sent it off to where I want it to go. So that is the way you can do screenshots. And then we have the Shift Command 5. And so when you mouse over it here, this says the first one is capture the entire screen. The second one is capture the selected screen or a selected window. The third one is capture a selected portion. And then here is the recording. And then you can record either the whole screen or a section of the screen. And then you have the options here, which you can select where you store those screen shots. So the default is the desktop. I've created a folder called Screenshots 3, so they all go into that folder. And you can see you have a timer how long that screenshot stays there in the lower right hand corner. I've set mine at 10 seconds. And so you can have quite a few options here. And then if we hit escape, we'll get out of the screenshots. So calculations, sometimes you want to do some quick math, and there's several ways to do that. Of course, the obvious way is to use the calculator. So I have the calculator here in my dock. So when I click on it, it comes up. I can move it anywhere on the screen. Then I've also, you notice here, I have a little window that's called paper tape. And you get the paper tape by going to the menu bar, selecting window, and there I hid the paper tape. And now I go down to show paper tape, and it's there. So if I do a calculation here, I could either use my keypad. If I click up here, 12 times 12, I can hit enter, is 144, and you can see here it shows up on the paper tape. So that's one way to do a calculation. Another way is to use Spotlight. So if I do Command Spacebar to bring up Spotlight, there it is. So I hit 12, and the asterisk is the time sign times 12. There it is, 144. And you notice here on the right the icon for the calculator shows up to show that you're in the calculation mode. So I could continue that calculation by hitting a minus sign, 64, and now I get this answer of 80. So you can do calculations in Spotlight. So let's talk about how you can deal with files and folders. So of course, to open a file, you double click, and sometimes this is confusing because when you're on the web, you single click on everything. So mostly in your Mac, you're going to double click to open things, but you will be doing a single click on the Mac just to select a file or a folder. Now you also have the option of open with. So that is activated by hitting your right click button on your mouse, or if you don't have right click set up, you can do control click. Of course, if you're on a trackpad, then the right click is activated by pressing 2 fingers on the trackpad at the same time. So let's look at that. So here we are in the Finder, and if we wanted to open a folder, we would double click. I'm going to make this a little bigger. There we go. If we wanted to open a file, we would double click. But if we wanted to open this with something besides the default, we would right click and move here in the drop down menu to open with, and you can see the preview would be the default, but we can choose another application here to open that file with. And then of course click in the white here to get rid of that. Now if we want excuse me, if we wanted to delete that, we would right click and then we could move it to trash. So here we have some duplicate files. I'm going to right click on that, move to trash, and there it goes. So you can preview a file with a built-in feature called Quick Look. The way you activate Quick Look is you select that file with one click, then you touch your space bar and you can see that file. Then to get out of Quick Look, you tap the space bar again. So let's look at that. So here, if we wanted to look at this picture, we click on it once to select it, click on the space bar, and to get out of Quick Look, we hit the space bar again. However, when you're in Quick Look, you can use the arrow keys to move around. So I'm moving here through a couple of folders, and here's another document. So you can use that. And then when you're still in Quick Look, so let's go here, get rid of that. So if you're still in Quick Look, you can actually do a command delete to get rid of that file, puts it in the trash. So that's a good way to go through your downloads folder and get rid of things that you no longer need, like compressed apps. So you can rename a file or folder, and actually this was something that I didn't know, that I learned while preparing for this presentation. And so of course you click once to select the file, and then all you have to do is hit the return key, and that will select the name of the file or folder. And since it's already selected, you can just start typing. You don't have to hit delete. You don't have to do anything but start typing, and it'll automatically replace what that file name was. So let's see how that works. So here we are. We have this picture that has the funny little designation that the camera that took this image uses. So we're going to click once to select it, hit return. So you can see it leaves the suffix here of JPEG, but it selects the entire file name, and all I have to do is start typing and it replaces it just like that. So it's a very quick and easy way to do that. So just start typing. So to delete a file, there's several ways to do that. Again, you click on it once to select it, and the easiest way to delete it is Command Delete. Use the keyboard command, the Command key and the Delete key in the upper right hand corner of your keyboard, and it goes into trash. Of course, you could drag it to the trash, but sometimes that's tedious. If you don't have your mouse in the right place, it's hard to hit that little trash can. So Command Delete is really a good way to do it. Now, another way using your mouse is to right click and choose Move to Trash, which we demonstrated there earlier. Speaking of trash, there's a setting that you might want to make sure that you have turned on in trash. So you go up to, when you're in the Finder, you go up to the menu bar and click on the Finder, and then Settings, and then Advanced. And then what you want to do is click on Remove Items from Trash after 30 days. So that way you don't have to mess with the trash, and you do have a safety net in case you trash something accidentally. You've got those 30 days to get that back. So let's look at how that works. So I'm going to hit Command Q to get rid of nail. And so I have this file here. So we're going to make a copy of that by hitting right click and duplicate. So again, we can use several ways to get rid of that, but what I'm trying to show you here is go to the Finder, and you lift the upper left hand corner, go to Settings, and go to Advanced. Normally you might come up on General, so you want to click on Advanced, and then here the fourth or the fifth thing down is Remove Items from Trash after 30 days, and you want to make sure that that is checked. And then you don't have to worry. Your trash will automatically empty when the item that you put in there is 30 days old. So let's talk about moving files. So the common way to do that would be to drag and drop if you're in the same window and you maybe created a folder to put similar files into. Then you would just drag and drop that file on top of that folder and you're done. But if you need to move it to a different window, a different folder, then what you can do is create a new Finder window and move it that way. So let's show you that, and as while we're there, we'll show you how to option drag if you want to leave it where it was but then move it to someplace else. So that would be like if you got a folder that you're using for a project and you want to put some files in that project folder temporarily, but you want to leave them where they were, then you would use that technique. Let's look at that. So here we are. So we're going to resize this folder, this window, and then we're going to go to File in the menu bar and click on the first option, which is New Finder Window. And there we have another window. We're going to move it over here so we can see both of them. And then we're going to click on Downloads here in the left window. So if we want to move something into our Documents folder from our Downloads folder, we simply drag and drop. So there it is. However, if we want to leave it in our Downloads folder and move it to another window, we hold down the Option key and drag and drop. So you can see here Passport is in the Documents folder, but it's still here in the Downloads folder. So that is two ways that you can move files around. So you're searching for a file. So my favorite way to search is using Spotlight Search. Again, that keyboard shortcut is Command Spacebar. You can also use Command F, but we'll show you here why that's not always a great way to search. So if we hit Command Spacebar, and let's say we want to search for the word silicon. So you can see I got a keynote presentation that's on my Mac. I got another keynote presentation that's in iCloud. I've got some search criteria here. Here's yet another presentation that had the silicon mentioned. Here's a Wikipedia entry for Silicon Valley. Here's a TV show. Here's some pictures of Silicon Valley. Here's bookmarks and history from Safari. Here's a photo that was taken out of an app that has the word silicon, so it found that word inside a photo. Pretty amazing. Then we have documents. We have mail and messages that have silicon in it. Here's a dictionary definition of silicon. Here's something in notes that mentions silicon. So you can see you get a nice extensive search with Spotlight. So now if I hit Command Spacebar again, Spotlight goes away. And now if I'm in a window and I hit Command F, the search box appears in the upper right. And if I type in silicon, I can still get search results only on this Mac. You can see here that this Mac is highlighted. Sometimes it might be highlighted on the Documents folder. You probably want to make sure that comes up on this Mac. So you would click on that. But you can see here I'm getting some weird stuff. So let's click here to get rid of the search. So you can see here I've got something called shared filters. So if I click on this and hit commands or just hit the space bar for a quick look, yeah, I don't care about that. These are system files that are not meant to be seen. You know, here is something that's a screenshot. There's where that silicon was actually seen inside an image. So that's pretty amazing. But you see, I get a lot of garbage here when I use the Command F. So I think it's a lot cleaner to use Spotlight for your searches. So that brings us to questions. And a reminder to please share the GoFor Gazette, which comes to you every Monday morning at 7 o'clock with anybody you know that uses Apple devices so we can help more people. And if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified when we go live. So let's see what you have to say. So, hi Judy. So Susan says, is there a way to always have the paper tape appear in the calculator? Yes, good question. If you have it turned on, as you notice when I went to the calculator, the paper tape was there. That's because the last time I used the calculator, I had the paper tape on. So if you just leave it there, it'll be there next time you go to the calculator. And Susan says her exercise teacher couldn't join Zoom today because her MacBook had no charge. She called Apple Care and learned that rebooting also resets the charging mechanism. Well, that's good. So I'm glad her MacBook is working again. And she learned today that rebooting resets the charging mechanism, something I didn't know previously. So that's good. And there's Chris. Hi, Chris. Glad you found this to be useful. So again, these are things that sometimes we forget, sometimes we never knew, because we jump in the middle and don't start at the beginning. So hopefully you have been enlightened and picked up at least one or two little tricks that will help you be more productive on your Mac. So if there's no further questions, thanks again for joining. We will be here next Tuesday at high noon for Go for Lunch. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions for future presentations, my contact information is coming up right now. Have a great day.